freeze. We got the world monopoly on trees, and our country's bordered by 3 different seas.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. We invented the zipper, we got expertise. We made insulin to combat disease. Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
We took out the monarchy, the US has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French will get the wine and cheese, koalas chew with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
Et si ce n'était pas assez, on a 2 langues officielles, l'anglais et le français. Ouh là là.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. Where else do you find mounted police or go to the hospital and not pay fees? I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
And when freshwater's in high demand, we got the world's largest supply on hand. So you know that we can make a pretty good friend, but it's even better if you can.
We took out the monarchy, the US has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French will get the wine and cheese, koalas chew with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
So you're thinking to yourself, how do I live in this beautiful country? Well, I've got some steps for you to follow.
Step 1, lose the gun. Step 2, buy a canoe. Step 3, live multiculturally. Step 4, you ready? There is no war. We got beavers, caribou, and moose. We got buffalo, bears, and Canadian goose. And we're sorry about Celine Dion, but she did do that good song for James Cameron. Cameron.
We took out the monarchy, the US has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French will get the wine and cheese, koalas chew with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The Greeks all chill with Socrates, can't build a wall like the Chinese, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. In Kenya they have safaris, witnessed lots of other countries, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. Even if in winter things tend to freeze, we got the world monopoly on trees, and our country's bordered by 3 different seas.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. We invented the zipper, we got expertise. We made insulin to combat disease. Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
We took out the monarchy, the US has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French will get the wine and cheese, koalas chew with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
Et si ce n'était pas assez, on a 2 langues officielles, l'anglais et le français. Ouh là là.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. Where else do you find mounted police or go to the hospital and not pay fees? I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
And when freshwater's in high demand, we got the world's largest supply on hand. So you know that we can make a pretty good friend, but it's even better if you can.
We took out the monarchy, the US has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French will get the wine and cheese, koalas chew with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna.
And we're live. Woo! I couldn't remember how to click on intro for a minute, and then I did, and we were good.
We're technically a little early, but that's okay.
Well, we're a little early because, like, my computer is, like, I think it's, like, 3 minutes fast. But the counter technically counted down, and it took me a couple of seconds to click intro.
Oh no.
So I didn't do it perfect.
Sugar tits, why did you have to share this with me?
Uh-oh.
They're just some things you should never share. But you know what? Since she's sharing it, I'm going to share it too.
Oh, no.
Oh, because I can do that. I can still share my screen. Oh, yay.
Oh, yeah. You can share your screen, can't you?
I
Okay.
sure can.
All right. When you share it, I am going to try to share it too.
Don't worry, it's very short, and you really don't want to share the whole... Well, I mean, we're going to share the whole thing. It's only 26 seconds of it. Oh, God. Sugar tits, no. No, why? Why must you?
Why am I not?
I've already shared
sharing?
it, so.
Oh, well, I couldn't share it, and I'm sorry, people, but my screen reader is gonna.
You can't
What?
do it through, you can't do it through Discord? Because that's how I'm sharing it.
Well, I'm sharing it, it's just I can't get the display capture to work, but. Oh, you gotta play that again.
Okay. It's still playing. Do you want me to
Yes.
change the screen?
Wait, what? 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 What the? What is happening right now?
Do you see that?
Just. You know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing good work from a contractor that made sure that that pole wasn't fucking going nowhere. That's what I think. Congratulations. Because usually at that point, even the skinny drunk chicks fall over. But this pole was installed so well that a woman of a whale size can do
She looks like
that.
she's got to be at least 350 or something. 3 to 350.
Yeah, like, wow. Wow.
Thank you, Sugar Tits. Gravity says no, but the pole says, well, maybe.
Oh my god, that was.
To be fair, I don't really want to make fun of her for doing this, because if she did this often enough, she'd probably lose weight.
Probably, actually. Like, you're not even wrong. Like,
That's why I really kind of wish, like, it's not that I don't get where Sugar Tits is coming from, because there's just some things you can't unsee. But the thing is, like, the psychology with these people is you let them do it. Let them keep doing it, because low-key they don't know that they're already kind of on the track to doing something good for themselves.
yeah, so just motivate them to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what a nice person would do.
That's what I try to do, but I'm a manipulative bitch.
Hey, Credible Threat. We're just, we lied. We thought Hammer was gonna be here, but then he wasn't.
Then Hammer had a boomer moment, and I think he took a nap. Because I've tried to message him at least twice on Twitter, and there's been no response, and he's normally pretty good. Like, he'll be like, hey, I'm late, or I was caught up with something. He's usually pretty good about letting you know. And I know you were trying to get him through Discord, so if he's not responding to Twitter, then he's not awake.
Yeah,
Because he's kind of a Twitter addict.
Yeah. I mean, Twitter addict when they're old, that's good. Because, I mean, you might as well, right?
Well, I recommend that right now anyway. It's one of those things where I will tell you, and I will be honest with you, Twitter is still a shithole. It is still a cancer. But the thing is it's still a cancer where you can go to advertise for yourself, to market for yourself. It's a good way to meet people. Especially if you're wanting to cross streams and stuff, like if you're wanting to find people who have similar, talking points to you, or you wanna do interviews with other people, Twitter is a decent place to go.
Yeah.
It's still a cancer hole. So, you have to be willing to deal with cancer if you want to get the good stuff. But having the playing field be evened out the way it has been, he's not in favor of the right. Like, people who keep thinking he is, I'm like, oh no, he's fully prepared to start making fun of the right. Absolutely he is. Oh yeah. And I'm okay with that, because it's called criticism. If you never receive criticism from people, you don't know when you're actually being kind of shitty. That's kind of the problem with the left, is you try to tell them, hey, when you do this and this and this, people see it as you being kind of shitty.
Yeah.
And what they do is they deflect me, like, well, you do this and this and this and this, and like that's the thing. You have to be able to listen to, like, the criticism to be like, well, was that actually shitty? Maybe it was,
Yeah? Yeah, I mean, it makes you stop and think.
right? Does it always work? No, we're all humans. Sometimes things just don't work the way you want them to. But yeah, I'm really grateful for the fact that he's even the playing field, and it is a really good opportunity to grow. I've gotten into some spats with people though, and to be fair, I don't always think people understand me.
More on tennis.
Because if you're a new normie and you're talking to me, I will unintentionally confuse you. BG, if you go onto Twitter right now, you'll find yourself running into a lot of people who are maybe, I've been on the internet for like 2 years, right? And they're running around thinking, well, I've been on the internet for forever because I've been on here for 2 years. And they don't actually have any history of like internet, like, you know, none of the 20, 30 last years of internet history that most of us who've been on the internet for that long kind of get. You don't need to be in every grift to know what I'm talking about. We all kind of have an idea of stuff that we've heard through the grapevine of the internet, because once it's on the internet, it's there for life.
Oh my god. Actually, speaking of.
It's Jason! I shouldn't be doxing you, but I don't mean to. It's just you used to go by your name too. And, you know, it's Jason. Hi.
Oh, hey, the useless cook. I am going to try to give you a hammer a wrench and not screw it up. Welcome to the channel.
You should get him to join the Discord, because he could visit us every once in a while.
I should also do that. You are correct.
Yes, he's good peeps to talk to.
Ooh. Do
You know, I don't always give you enough credit because I don't follow everybody's video like I should, because I just unfortunately don't have enough time to, and I don't have the brain power to. I just don't. I don't have the attention span to it. But, you know, Jason's really good at cooking. You know, he does a lot of cooking. You should go watch his cooking channel.
Okay.
I should go watch his cooking channel because I've been failing on my own. Like, my mom keeps bullying me, BG, because she got me a slow cooker. And I like it. I like the slow cooker. It's
Hammer
just I have this.
responded.
Is he around? Oh, good.
Well, he just responded to let me know he's on Twitter.
Okay.
Which
Alright, let me
means
go
he
back on.
must be jumping into this Discord. And I was about to send you a Discord link to put in my chat. Because I decided I'm a degenerate stunner, and everybody should know. I'm a degenerate stunner. It was
Yeah, he did respond to me too. He just said, I will join as soon as possible. I'm just checking if he needs a Discord link too. Like, if he needs me to send it to him, I can.
I think I sent it to him. He should be in the landing bay at some point so I can give him roles. I wish my box was here because my box could do this for me.
Oh, that's not what I meant.
I meant box, just, you know, the computer guy. He runs my Discord so that I don't have to, for obvious reasons. I just uploaded a new cooking video. Ooh, what do you cook? What do you cook? What do you cook? I went to La Cordon Bleu chef school for a couple of years, just so you know. I had to scale a tuna once. It was not okay.
There we go.
Hi, Steve. Hi, Steve.
There, I sent him the link to that Discord. It's just at the same time, I also unintentionally sent him a link to this video. So I don't know what country they're from. They could be Korean, they could be Chinese. I don't know. They're just Asian. But they played out this scene from a video game, like, you know, a standard RPG where the guy is going around the town and he looks like he's about to, like, run into signs, but he stops and he's, like, running over people. And it's really well done. It's a decent little spoof. I unintentionally sent that to Hammer, though. But all right, we're professionals on this show. Did you know?
Real professionals. Yes. Come on,
Yes.
Hammer, land. Land, use your beautiful wings and land so that I can give you rose. That didn't come out as cool as I thought it would. Okay?
It might take him a minute. I don't know why it's taking him a minute because he has a high-end computer, so, we should give him grief for that, at least.
Be like, you have high-end computer and you do not do? Oh my god, what is going on? You know what? Maybe.
He just joined the Discord, so you got
did?
that much.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh, there's the one-ton hammer. Oh my god. Yes, hammer's in the house. Now, rolls. People of chat, help me out here. Rolls. Crap. Okay. Where is he? He's somewhere on this list. This guy. Okay, this guy. I am going to give rolls. I'm going to give him God roll. So now he is God. So he should be able to enter being God. You are God now, Hammer. Join like the God you are. I shouldn't have smoked that much pot. I thought Hammer was going to miss the show. But that's okay because I remember exactly what we do not agree on. Oh, Hammer, my man, where'd you go? You were like the only guest we've ever had on, man. Ever. You're like the first of the Canadian show.
There he is.
Woo!
There you go. I pulled you in, Hammer. It's the one time that I actually have control over something where I can do a thing. So I non-consenting pulled you into a room that you didn't consent to be in. But welcome.
That's okay. I had a little bit of a struggle getting on the server when I clicked in on Twitter on the link. It tried to open up a web page because it didn't see Discord running. And it's like, who are you? I was like, I'm Hammer. I was like, yeah, but we don't know what you're trying to do here. I'm like, well, let me go open Discord. And then I went in Discord and I saw you had a link in there. I was like, oh, I'll click on that one. Then everything worked and I couldn't get in the voice channel. I'm like, ugh.
That is.
Yeah, it's one of those things where cross platforms. I find Discord is like that. Sometimes it's like, hey, come join me, and then it's like, oh, you're from another platform. Icky.
Yeah, it's weird how it worked out. So glad to be here though.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for the invite.
Oh, you're welcome.
thanks
We
for
were a little bit
joining.
worried. I was a little bit worried that maybe you'd fallen asleep because.
No, I just forgotten that today was Monday. So
I do that
Batman.
too.
you don't have a job, you kind of forget what day is what day. It's easy to get them mixed up. I mean, if you were to look at my clocks settings on my iPhone, it has my entire week planned out with alarms to let me know, okay, it's 4:00, you have to take your medicine. It's 6:00 on a Saturday, you have to be here. Everything is all laid out on my phone. And so I didn't have this specific thing added in there. And of course, my memory.
You're fine. I'm kind of like, I still have a job, and I still have moments like that where I'm just like, so is this the day off where I have 2 more days in a row, or is this the day off where I have 3 more days in a row?
Yeah. Well, thank you for making me feel better.
And
Well,
Big
because
Dro,
one means I start at 6 and one means I start at 5:30. So
Big Dro, Trucker is not a guest, he's a co-host, so yeah. And Batman, you chop off one head and another one
Batman
goes
I am a
back.
is
figment
that-
of your imagination.
well, exactly, and he's Batman, so he's gonna show up wherever the heck he wants because he's Batman.
Can you throw me a link to the show so I can talk to chat?
Oh, sure.
Yes, it's in general. Didn't
No worries,
I?
I'm here.
Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.
'Cause-
That's the nice thing about having a co-host is I can do stuff. I'm gonna send it to your DMs though, just because that's easier.
Yeah.
It's just I
Make
thought
sure
you
I
were
send the
gonna
right
sleep
thing
through
this
the
time you said
show,
it.
so I took an extra puff.
Did you enjoy that little clip I unintentionally sent you? Because that was still funny.
I was trying to get online, so I didn't watch it, but it's still there.
Don't watch it. Oh my God! Don't watch it. Your eyes. Don't do it.
Oh no, she's thinking about the other thing I had. So when I went to share this stream, the first thing I came across was Sugar Tits. And to be fair, I like her a lot because she's funny, but she was sharing this really, she looked like she was 350-pound lady doing a pole dance on a remarkably solid pole. I mean, it looked like it was going to topple down, but it held.
Whoever built that pole, well done.
Shut up, Steve. I know you told me. Shut up. You're a dick, and I hate you. Love you. So, it was funny because when I was chatting with the almighty, incredible Hammer Batman, god damn it!
I had to comment because you were trying to say something to me on the stream, and Jen, as usual, talked over you.
Well, that's good.
So he wants to know what you said.
Oh, I said you chop off one head and another one grows. Hydra.
Oh.
Hail Hydra.
He's a Batra Hydra.
Hydra bat.
It was like the big bad for like the superhero stuff.
Pretty much.
Hail Hydra. It was like the superhero bad guy.
Well, to be fair, if you cut a head off and only one grows back, wouldn't it be like Hail Earthworm?
Cut off one head, two grow back in their place.
Oh, it's two heads. That's right. I am sorry.
Yes, 2 for 1.
Red Feather.
I like it better comparing Batman to an Earthworm.
So long as that Earthworm is called Jim, I'm not that bothered.
All right.
You know, in Rule 34, though, the Hydra wouldn't have been the head, right?
No, just the other kind of head.
Yeah. Yeah, the one that wears a bishop's hat.
And Big Joe, don't get any ideas from that. So.
And hello, 1 ton hammer.
Hello.
Now, Batman, get out!
I've been tainted by
you want
enough
me out, do
anime.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so with Hammer on the show, I had 2 things planned. 1 was the Star Trek show off with Trucker and him, and 2 was the only thing we ever disagreed on, and that was, should it be illegal to kill yourself or not? So I will let all of the cool peoples and Red Feather in the chat tell me which one they want to hear first.
So it's not that I think it should be
Feather's
illegal
cool.
to kill yourself. I think it's more of just that concept is really complicated because there's like kill yourself and then there's how you went about killing yourself. Like if how you went about killing yourself actually put a lot of other people at risk, maybe you should have, some time to yourself set aside, behind bars. But that's usually followed by a shrink, so it's not really going to jail. It's a little bit different. But this whole, stopping people from killing themselves, good luck.
You're not wrong.
Sorry.
And
Personally, I would say that legalize suicide. It should depend on why. Just because you're feeling miserable, that's not an excuse. And if you think, actually, it would help if you legalize it. It would stop a lot of people from committing suicide because you'd have to have a process to go through. Like you've got to see a counsellor. Why are you trying to commit suicide? Yeah, weigh the pros and cons. Yeah, and then it could actually be state administered. Therefore, nobody's going to get injured apart from the person who wants to die.
yeah, but would that line that you just drew stay a solid color, or would people begin to slowly push it back and forth?
People would begin to push back and forth every law.
Mm-hmm.
But at least the line would be there.
This law that gets pushed back and forth is whether somebody lives or dies.
Those kind of laws always get pushed back.
But
I mean, they do that for regular abortion too.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if you never intended for your baby to be aborted, you do know that if there's a chance that your life is at risk and you're not conscious to say yes to it, they choose you over the baby.
No credible threat. The government does not take responsibility. The final responsibility would always be on the person who's going to commit suicide.
all right.
They're just given a lot more advice and help than they would otherwise get.
Okay, so there's 2 arguments, but let's
just,
hear
I
what
mean-
the guest thinks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's going to be a complicated answer because we're talking about several things in play here. You're talking about a moral good. You're talking about a legal representation. You're talking about responsibility for life. There's so many pieces that have to be put together for this. So you have to put a lot of rules in place for it to work in society. The only entity that is allowed to cause death with intent is the government. So you have to come up with the idea of, are we going to allow private citizens to do this, or does it have to be government? So you have to extend laws to allow private citizens to kill other citizens, which I don't think most countries are going to do. So this remains back in the preview of something the government's going to do. Government already kills people.
Yep.
There's no two ways about that. They put people to death on a regular basis. Almost every country does. Some more than others. China.
Even
So-
governments that don't have death penalty do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are countries that don't. I don't know, but the point being is that, as far as I know, murder is not legal anywhere, and murder is not a moral good anywhere. So if it remains in the purview of the government, then the government has to be limited severely on how they do this. My perspective would be that if you're terminal and you're in pain, that's the only time that you really can.
I would tend
Get
to
it.
agree. I did a suicide prevention course. Yeah, I still remember a lot about it. One of the things that amused me, yeah, I know, strange word to use, but once over, suicide, yeah, has always been illegal, right? But once over, it was actually punishable by the death penalty. But I know, but
You committed suicide? Well, we're going to put you to death.
yeah, but the thing is, one of the things I learned on that course was because most people actually survive an attempted suicide, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Irrespective of what methods they choose, they will,
so like
they will tend to survive.
22%, I think, or something along that lines.
Yep. Just about everyone that's attempted it, they said as soon as they took the plunge, they wanted to go back. They didn't want to die.
Yeah.
And that's why I would advocate for if you're going to make it, yeah, take it off the books and stop it being illegal. You have a lot of psychological and psychiatric help for people who are contemplating, because at the end of the day, the vast majority of them are going to come to realise that they don't actually want to commit suicide.
You know what's funny is this has become really muddy because the way I look at it wasn't necessarily who would have the power to say it was legal. I never even thought of that as a qualifier because I like that you're not allowed to kill yourself. That's an already thing. I like that. Now, I remember our exchange was, but little government or less government. It's not that I want the government to have the power to say don't do it because people say it's my body, my choice, whatever. It's that, let's say there was a 14-year-old on the side of a bridge. A cop would stop and try to help them. If it
Yep.
wasn't illegal, the cop wouldn't be able to. Because
Actually,
if he
yes.
did, he could be sued.
Actually, yes, he could, because it's a 14-year-old kid. They're not
No,
allowed to
yeah.
of that nature.
Okay.
Well, this might be a difference between states and provinces
Yeah.
too. American
Right.
law is going to be different.
Yeah, but even so, let's say it's a 20-year-old. The cop would still be legally able to try and talk them down because it
Sure.
would go under the purview of advice and help.
Well, yes.
Giving the
but
guy
if it
another
were,
option.
If it were legal, he could, let's say he jumps and just barely saves him and pulls him up. Well, now
Yeah,
he's in
No,
trouble.
the-
He's going to have to live with that. The point being, I like that a cop can fulfill his moral need to do good by stopping someone from trying to kill themselves.
Yep.
Because morally, that's the instinct. And if you take their ability away to do that, then what's going to happen is a bunch of the arms of the government are going to try to do the right thing and then be hurt for it, kind of like when paramedics perform CPR and then the patient sues because they broke the ribs.
There's
Yeah.
a little bit difference there in America again, because if a 20-year-old jumps, the cop stops him. The cop has something called qualified immunity, which means he can't be prosecuted for trying to save a life.
That makes all the difference, actually.
Yeah.
But would that
It,
stay if it were legal to kill yourself?
yeah, it probably would.
For a bit.
Yeah, I would think it would. Qualified immunity is really, really ingrained in the American justice system.
It's
You
same
can
in the
get
UK.
away with just about anything as a cop.
It is, but left and right push tells me that there's collateral damage within the wiggle room.
Well, there's collateral damage now when suicide is illegal. And I mean, I'm not advocating for suicide to become legal. I think it remain illegal. But I'm basically playing devil's advocate here. So nowadays, there's still collateral damage with suicide being illegal. I mean, if you save somebody who's trying to commit suicide, they can still sue you for. It's just how messed up the world is there because you're bringing their quality of life down.
Yeah, I think the cop would still do it. That would be the Judge Carey doctrine that would jump into place there, because
Yeah.
that cop has to face himself at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So if you've heard of the Judge Carey doctrine, it's not really a doctrine. It's just kind of a colloquialism. I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6.
Yes.
I'd rather do the wrong thing for the right reasons. And I think most good cops, and there's some question about how many good cops are versus how many bad cops are, but I think
Yeah.
generally there's more good than bad, and I think more cops would have the moral sense to take that chance, just to be able to go home and say, I saved a life today. It really doesn't matter if they get fired for it. It's still
Even-
worth it.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Even today, most people join the police force to help people.
Well, and then there's the collateral damage. There's collateral damage of the cop having to face consequences for doing the right thing. That's damage. And there's collateral damage about which
anyway.
cops actually do go, no, I'm not going to risk my job. I got kids to feed, and lets somebody kill themselves.
Even
Either
then,
way, there's collateral damage there.
and even then, if suicide is now legal, right, and the cop doesn't stop him because it's not his job and he could get wrong, there's collateral damage there because he could get sued by the person's family for not saving him.
Or even
would still
worse,
be-
his conscience would eat at him, and he'd just be
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
hollow shell.
That wouldn't work. That wouldn't work in the States, again, because there is no responsibility for a cop to save you. I know it's weird, but it's true. If you look at the justice system,
Maybe
the
down
cop
there, up here,
does
ooh.
not have to save you. Yeah.
Up here, it's like they have to save you. They'll just go out of their way to jump in front of a bullet. But I guess that again, that's
Kind of over here.
that's Canadian. I don't
I mean,
culture.
Here's to
I don't know.
The amount of British coppers that have been killed in the line of duty saving innocent people and sometimes even guilty people is phenomenal.
Well, that's just why I like that it's illegal to kill yourself, because I think it eliminates a lot of those problems. I don't like that even just guilt of a cop, that's collateral damage that could destroy them, like a guilt like that, you never forget it, and that kind of emotional damage, like that would be shit collateral damage for no real good reason.
So what did we come to as an answer here?
I don't know.
I don't think there is an answer.
Maybe that's the answer, is there is no right answer. Just try to do the least amount of harm at the end of the day.
Yeah, I still think that the only way that you can dead yourself is having the government do it for you. I
Yep.
think that's the only way it would work. Unless someone else has an opinion that says that's not going to work.
It's not going to work because the government is comprised of humans, and humans can be swayed to dark places.
Yeah.
Well, that's just like saying, well, we should get rid of government.
No, we shouldn't get rid of them because they do good, but I do not think that government could stay true to the morality line of.
Well, it's not
deciding
just
who's
that.
allowed to
It's just
die.
that the topic itself is just too complicated. It's like saying, well, we're going to get rid of guns because we don't want people to kill themselves with guns. And like, well, no,
Cigarettes.
I hate to
We
break
already
it to you.
have.
All it takes for
Good.
someone to kill themselves is a building and a cliff.
Jen, you started me on the whole conversation Superman and the Flash had in Injustice, where Superman's get rid of all the guns and cigarettes. What? Cigarettes kill people every year. Well, why don't we make cigarettes legal? And he keeps going on and on and on until people are left with
Actually
absolutely
happening
nothing.
here.
Yeah. Jen, please check what I put in the chat.
Oh crap.
Yeah,
Actually, it's going on right now, precisely, specifically with the FDA going after menthol cigarettes.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
They did that for us ages ago.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean,
Sorry, but yeah, it started with the flavored cigars, the cigarellos, and they're like,
Yeah.
well, the kids are gonna think they're like candy, and I'm like, well, okay, fair enough, they are tasty, so, like, if you were giving that to a kid as their first cigarette, yeah, that's kind of a mean thing to do. Yeah, it is, but to be
something
fair,
in the shape of a dick that's brown is probably not something they're gonna think is candy unless there's something
No.
truly messed up in
they're
their
still
life.
gonna know it's a cigar. They're still gonna know it's a cigarette. It's just a tastier version of it, that's all. But it was the menthols. I'm like, okay, listen, if you really wanted to convince a kid never to smoke, the first one you try them on is menthol.
Menthols. Yeah.
Because they're disgusting. Like, the only reason people smoke menthols is if you've got a cold.
Incredible threat. That's okay. There's a lot of not cool people.
Or if you're broke and you really hate people, you might smoke menthols because it's the one true way to get people to fuck off when they're always asking you for smoke.
Yes,
I've
it
found,
is.
I've found really the only people who actually smoked menthol cigarettes when they were allowed in the UK were pretentious pseudo-intellectual assholes.
Yes.
And they didn't actually inhale the bloody cigarette smoke anyway.
Yeah, that's the point.
Oh my god, Hammer,
'cause
you're
they're-
such a saint. I hate you. I smoked cigarettes when I was 16 and I never got addicted. I'm Hammer. Screw you.
Yes,
I
some
only,
people
I, only,
don't.
I only smoked for a year at 16 because of peer pressure. I mean, everyone gets that.
But the
kind of
fact that
thing
you
whenever-
didn't get addicted to it like freaking kids and gummy bears is ridiculous. I'm pissed
Were
now.
you actually inhaling?
Yeah, I never got addicted to it.
Some-
My mom and dad both smoked.
Some people do.
My
Some
mom
people don't.
smokes till this day.
I-
She's heavily addicted, but it's not in my genes. I just never got addicted.
I started smoking when I was 15, and it was like 3 weeks after my dad quit smoking cold turkey. I think I was actually addicted to passive smoking. Oh,
That
did your
must
mother,
have sucked.
did your mother smoke when she was pregnant with
No, she
Mine-
didn't start until after she had me.
My mother smoked when she was pregnant.
Oh my god, the useless cook is taunting you, Hammer.
Already did inhale. I am, but most of the people in your audience probably don't know me very well. But I am probably the most vanilla person you'll ever want to meet.
You sound up.
Challenge
I am-
accepted, sir.
Oh, no, you haven't.
Oh, you have
There's
not.
we-
Oh,
We have administered
Never-
a certain
Test.
test to BT, and
I've never been drunk. Never smoked weed. Smoked for a year. Cigarettes. That's it.
You need to get drunk.
yeah.
No, drunk.
Never been drunk.
Losing control is actually good for you psychologically. Getting drunk once in a while is actually good for you physiologically. Notice
Wow.
I'm saying once in a while, not every night. All of these things, if done with moderation and care, are not bad for you.
Unless you're like super unlucky.
Yeah.
Not gonna do it. I'm 60 at this point. I'm not gonna bother with that stuff.
You're
That's all.
60, did you say?
Yes.
Oh, you're 2 years older than me.
Holy crap!
Well, I mean-
Hammer, you're
I'm
the
not
oldest
the
one.
oldest. I'm not the
my
oldest
God.
person.
I've had plenty of temptation throughout my life and haven't had any impetus to.
If you say
Partake.
you haven't had sex, I'm going to lose any respect I've got for you.
No, I've had sex. I've been
Oh,
married.
sorry. This is good.
Yeah, I've been married, so yeah, I've had sex.
okay, so when did you, whatever day you got married, that's the day your sex life died.
Actually, I had more sex married than ever before.
Did your wife ever find out?
my wife was actually diagnosed with nymphomania. Yeah, real thing.
So she's wired up like
Actually,
most men.
it
Gotcha.
is a real, true mental
Yeah, it is.
issue.
It is.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's like, wow.
No,
My brain
actually,
just
on a quick
exploded.
little side note, if my memory actually serves on something, the doctrine in the U.S. that says the police do not have a duty to protect you, it's Delaney versus Winnebago County, 1988 or 89. 89. Sorry.
Yep. That's why all the cop cars had the motto to protect and serve removed from the vehicles.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, it's true.
that's really sad, actually.
Well,
It's kind of depressing.
I guess you can understand it, but you
I
know,
know having
they're
an
going to do it.
I'm now having an argument about smoking rule.
Okay.
Is Big Red telling me to quit again?
Yes.
You know what? You, sir, are canceled.
Yep. Red Feather saying breathing gives you cancer. Red Feather life gives you cancer. It's not a question of if you'll get cancer, it's a question of when. And this is actually true.
I guess you could die from a heart attack and never get cancer, right?
Yeah.
So breathing doesn't necessarily give you cancer.
There's one of my uncles, I never met him, but he never smoked a day in his life, right? And oddly enough, it was cigarettes that killed him.
Secondhand smoke?
No, he worked in a warehouse, and the guy with the fork truck stopped too quickly. This pallet of cigarettes fell off and crushed him. And I'm not joking.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming.
Hit him full in
Well,
the
neither
chest.
did he.
Crushed his chest.
Oh, dang. Cold, but dang.
Yeah.
And then I have two Superman / Trekkies versus Hammer, and I'm just now gonna sit and watch my eyes glaze over.
Why versus Hammer?
Oh, because that makes it fun. Clearly.
Why? Does Hammer hate both of these franchises?
I don't know. I don't think he does.
What, Trek?
Yeah.
I love Trek.
Are you on about Star Trek, or
Mm,
are you
huge
on
Trek
about
fan.
New Trek?
All Trek. I'm not. The only
So-
thing I don't want to have anything to do or ever talk about or ever discuss in any way, shape, or form is STD.
And Picard.
Yeah, I just don't. STD is just. I mean, it's appropriately named. That's a sexually transmitted disease.
What,
that
what, what about
program.
what about Jar Jar's Star Trek?
I don't know anything about that. It's not canon. I don't know anything about it.
You know the Jar Jar Abrams movies.
They're okay. I mean, the first one was okay. The other two are kind of petered out.
Yeah. I hated the whole Spock Uhura dynamic. It just wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And Uhura, they give her superpowers.
Uhura and Scotty were supposed to be the thing.
Yeah, because in the TV series, I actually have a lot more respect from Uhura from the original series than I do from Abrams' films. Because Uhura in the series, she wasn't just a professional; she was a senior bridge officer. She was head of an entire department.
Well, there was a reason behind the J.J. Abrams stuff was to bring more people to the franchise. So they made changes to try to get more eyes on the just besides just the Star Trek fans. They wanted to get everyone else.
Oh yeah.
So they made it actiony and they made it sexy and they did all the things necessary in big Hollywood to get people on board. So
Yeah, and in fact, it's more people than it brought.
it is technically canon. So I'm not going to talk bad about it, but
I think it had potential. Actually, is just the way it was executed. Because one of the things I think it can't be branch time, because when you see Kirk's dad's, the technology is already far too advanced. Times period is placed in, so it had to have always been a separate quantum reality.
yeah, everybody working on Star Trek from a certain point on began to ignore the limitations that TOS put on the franchise. You know, they started making everything touch panels and floating graphic screens, all that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, none of that happened.
That's
The only th-
that's also the next generation. In a ship that is going to see combat is stupid. You get hit, and even if your touch panel flickers for a second, that's it. You've lost the battle. Because for
Yeah.
that, you don't have control of any of your ship's systems.
Well, there's backups.
Yeah, but those battles have got to kick in, and in that split second, you don't know what's happening, and you don't know what the bad guy's going to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I've said this many times to many people about Star Trek. Is there's a fundamental what's the word I'm looking for? A tenet towards fantasy is that you have to give it some level of disbelief.
Yes.
You say, okay, well, this is like really not, but I can understand it because the plot has to do this and the story has to be told this way, and you have to kind of say, yeah, that's not really believable. However, you know, I live in this century and that's in that century. Who knows really how realistic that would be?
I've got to disagree with you very slightly.
Suspension of disbelief, I think, is the term.
I've got to disagree with you slightly. Any given narrative has to be totally believable within its own setting.
Right.
That's a proviso. It's got, like Star Trek has to be utterly believable within the setting of Star Trek.
Yeah. Well, there's something glaringly wrong. Yeah, it's going to stick out.
That's something what the likes of the new feels utterly to do to make it believable within its own setting.
Yeah, well, I can't. I don't even. I've never even really watched ST. I mean, like I watched the first half of the first episode when the show first came out, and I was immediately like, no. What they did to Klingons, I was like, nope, I'm done.
Oh,
I'm already out.
The Four Nostrils Klingons.
But I've actually given Picard a chance, and I've actually done a podcast on Saturdays specifically talking about Picard. And a lot of people have a hard time with this. Everybody I know, even the people I podcast with, had a hard time with this, and they've kind of come around a little bit. But if you ever watch Dave Cullen and his Star Trek reviews, it's clear that a lot of people have this problem. And the problem is they're so hung on old Trek that they can't see the possibility of a different story.
I can. I just don't like Picard. The writing is very gender pushing. I've tried to. I can't. Don't like. But you are right. There are other stories. I mean, the fan films do the stories.
Yeah, there are a couple of Picard episodes that are a little bit woke. I'll give you that. That's true. And I'm very sensitive to that. I fucking hate woke culture. But there are plenty of stories that aren't. And the writing does ebb and flow. But remember, the first year of TNG was pretty terrible. Star Trek always has a hard time getting going. Voyager's first year, pretty terrible. Enterprise's first year, pretty terrible.
Disagree with you with Voyager. I actually preferred the earlier Voyager.
The lady captain. Oh man,
the whole thing about Voyagers. The further along it got, the more the bad science fiction ideas came up, like the race
kind of a grab bag, didn't it?
Like
One
the race
episode
that
was
ages.
great, the next episode was terrible. Then the next episode was great. It's like,
But they had the race that ages backwards. You know, when Tuvok crashed on that moon, and there's this shuttle pod that's crashed with what he thinks are little children, and they're actually old people.
Yeah, Benjamin Button.
Yeah, but
People age backwards.
yeah,
They get
that
older.
that idea only ever worked in Mork and Minnie. 'Cause that was a comedy.
Yeah.
But there was one of my major disagreements with Voyager was B'Elanna Torres. Oh, I'm giving her command of engineering because she's Maquis, and no, you wouldn't. The best person for the job was the guy that she
Carey.
promoted.
Carey.
Yeah, he was far better for the job.
she came up with a lot more answers than he did.
Only we
When they got stuck, she came up with the, oh, why don't we try this? She was always the innovator between the two of them.
I just didn't like the character anyway. And apparently the character was mild compared to the actress.
I saw her once at a Comic-Con, and she seemed perfectly pleasant, but of course she's in front of people.
Yeah. But she wasn't nice to get on with, and she was an absolute bitch to 6 of 2 threes.
She, I heard that the big brouhaha was between Kate Mulgrew and Jerry
Initially,
Ryan.
it was because she thought that they got Jerry Ryan on just for the tit factor, where they hadn't. It was because
They
Let's
did.
see,
They wrote her
Seth-
better, but they
Seth-
originally it was.
it might have been initially for the
Yeah.
idea, but the character that she was given to play was an entirely science fiction character.
Yeah, what they wrote her into turned out to be awesome, but they could very easily just made her space bimbo.
And they could have easily made her into another Mary Sue, but they didn't.
Yeah, she could made
But,
another Wesley Crusher.
The best character in that show for me was Tom Paris.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I could see myself being Tom Paris. I mean, he was a devil may care hotshot. He was basically Han Solo in Star Trek. But with
Yeah.
more, but
He-
not as bad tempered.
yeah, I always thought Tom Paris is a little just stupid. He just did things. Maybe it was the writing; they wrote him that way.
Yeah.
But it always
It-
seems like if he could make the wrong choice, he did.
But he always made the morally right. Tried to make the morally right.
Yeah, eventually he came around. Right, exactly.
No, whilst in Voyager, all of his choices, he was always trying to make the morally right choice. That's why he got busted down to ensign again.
Yeah, yeah. He's
But-
an interesting character. I don't.
I'd say Voyager and Deep Space Nine were the two better shows of the Next Generation series. Next Generation series, I mean, they lied in the opening, to boldly go where no one has gone. They went where everybody had been before.
There were plenty of times where in TNG where they said we're going to this new sector and we're going to be doing star mapping. So obviously in TNG they definitely did go where no one's gone before, and I think TOS was even more so. But
Well,
I
TOS
couldn't-
said they were out. They were basically out there.
Whoa! Donation.
is everybody
God.
asleep?
Lucky
Have we
Charms
put everybody
donation.
asleep yet?
I
Probably.
am a
No,
degenerate who
but there's
likes
a
to tell
donation.
people about my
Oh,
sexual
God, it's Big
desire
Drew.
on other people's streams.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
crap.
Hannah.
We all
talked
have our
over it,
Kimpeys.
which means I'm gonna have to read it. Ah, crap.
So,
hold
you know,
hold on. Big Joe said, "I am a degenerate who likes to tell people about my sexual desires on other people's streams." Ah, well, we all have our kink.
Ah, God,
Yeah.
dude, get us.
And
just, you know, Hammer, that's kind of a running gag on this show that BG gets naughty messages that she reads out to the chat, and therefore Jack gets pizza.
and Big Joe claims it's not him. I did way prefer the original series, though. Probably
Well-
possibly because it's what I grew up with.
I always say to everybody that if it wasn't for the original series, there would be no Trek.
There would have been no
'Cause-
Star Wars.
Yeah, I don't know how much of impact Trek had on Star Wars, but somebody is eventually going to come up with a space fantasy that everyone's going to love. So I think Star Wars was inevitable. But if you didn't have TOS, you wouldn't have had TNG. They almost didn't have TNG.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
And another
without-
thing you've got to be thankful for with Star Wars, you've got to be thankful in Spielberg, otherwise you wouldn't have had Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you might not have gotten Star Wars directly, but at some point, somebody's going to come up with a space fantasy somewhere along the lines.
Mhm.
I mean, you could say the same thing about the Orville. If it wasn't for Trek, there'd be no Orville. But I think there still would have been. It just wouldn't have been called the Orville, and it wouldn't be kind of Trek. You know?
Galaxy Quest, the TV.
Galaxy. Yeah,
I would have
probably
actually loved to have seen that.
There you go. Cryptic has it in chat. Battlestar Galactica had nothing to do. Babylon 5 had something to do with Trek. Battlestar Galactica really never had anything to do with Trek.
Battlestar Galactica was basically inspired by Eric von Daniken, Chariot of the Gods.
Yeah. And so it was there was no writers, there was no producers, no actors, nothing from Star Trek that was ever in Battlestar Galactica.
Nope.
So they're pretty separate. So you still would have had the space fantasy, like I said, but
Yeah.
but it may not have been, you got to give a lot to Gene Roddenberry. It wasn't for him.
What are you giggling at, blind girl?
Cryptic saying I love Babylon 5 though.
It was a cool TV show. I mean, it was a little
Babylon.
goofy, but
I would say
You
it was the least goofy out of all the ones we've mentioned.
Babylon 5 was
Yeah.
basically DS9. That's
Well,
where they got it from.
Yeah,
Because they proposed Babylon 5 as DS9, and Paramount said, no, we don't want Babylon 5. Thanks,
they
have a nice
kept the
day.
Bible.
But they kept all the information that they'd been
Yeah.
submitted from Babylon 5 and called it DS9. So it's basically the same show.
DS9's a watered down version, though.
DS9 is a more professional version. It's not quite so kooky, so grade B.
think
It's a little bit more Starfleet.
Babylon
And,
5 was kind of more realistic.
really think so? I thought,
Yeah.
their characters were just like Muppets and shit like that. I was like, what the fuck is this?
I found it different. I mean, like the security chief who thinks the most important thing in the universe is Warner Brothers cartoon. That's realistic.
Wants
They
to
just-
know, did you guys like Sequest?
No,
Ooh.
it was the most miserable show on TV. And then they tried to reboot it with a second season, and it was even worse.
I don't remember it. I mean, I remember it existing, but
Dom
I don't think I ever
DeLuise's
watched-
sons. Dom DeLuise's sons were in it.
I don't remember ever watching it. It was probably
It was
on at a time.
DS9 underwater, or Babylon 5 underwater.
Well, it's more like
No.
Star Trek with bubbles.
Yeah, pretty much.
I like the term.
Well, no, the thing is actually something when you all were mentioning Voyager, where Batsy, you were saying your favorite character on that was Paris.
Oh, Paris, yeah.
I hate to say it, as opposed to to turn it into a political sense, where a lot of people's trying to wokeness into everything these days.
Yep.
To be honest, when it came to the Paris Kim relationship between the two, if it turned out that they decided that they were going to go for the comfort of each other instead of the opposite sex, in a sense like that, that's where it would have been right.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, I can understand that. But, it's a funny thing about Paris and Kim. Paris married the most unlikable woman on the ship, and Kim kept getting involved with females he really shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like
was a
the
whole
alien who
joke.
impregnated him, the hologram, this, and
The board.
yeah, and I know in Star Trek Online
that chick.
that's wrong. The reality is, Harry Kim died an old man, bitter and embittered, 97-year-old and
Well, there was an episode of Trek, Voyager, where Voyager had crashed on a planet and frozen,
yeah,
and Harry Kim had gotten away.
and Chakotay.
And Chakotay, right? And they got the doctor, all that kind of. I remember that episode, but it doesn't really show Harry's future as something bright. But then there was another episode where Harry Kim was. I can't remember what episode it was, but Harry Kim was a captain of a starship, and he was going after somebody or something like that. Maybe I'm getting him mixed up with Geordi, but
Yeah, you are,
There was-
because
Am I?
because it's from the same episode.
maybe that's it. But I always had a feeling that he would end up being Starfleet all the way.
Yeah.
He would be like Janeway, kind of just a cat or Picard, where their love of life would be in their command as opposed to a person.
Best Next Generation episode for me was the one where Picard gets mesmerized by the probe and lives its entire life in a minute.
Right, right.
The inner light.
The inner light. That's where he had the little flute. That
Yeah.
little, yeah.
Okay, guys, was there like a Trekkie-like thing called honk honk or something? Because Big Joe just said honk honk is so much better than Star Trek. What does that
I don't know
even
what Hong Kong is.
Yeah,
I have
Big
no
Joe,
idea.
dude, I think you hate your head on something. Fix it.
Big Joe, you've just proven that all these years, those donations have been from you.
Yep. I am talking about this stream. Oh! Oh, that's
Oh.
so sweet of you to say. Thank you. Never mind. You're uncanceled. I'm okay with this.
Never actually watched this stream.
So, if you were to put your Star Treks in order by preference,
I would say the original series, Deep Space Nine,
wow, DS9 is second.
Yeah.
Wow.
Enterprise, Voyager.
Enterprise.
Yeah. Enterprise had a lot of good ideas.
All right. No. Keep going. We can talk about this. Keep going.
Enterprise, Voyager, and then the Next Generation.
The Next Generation.
One thing got to notice about the Next Generation, when Picard is shouting at Riker always looks like he's about to burst into tears and run away crying.
I never got that feeling.
Always did. Actually, something my dad pointed out the first time it was on.
My order would be sufficiently different. I would put TNG first, TOS second, Voyager, Enterprise, DS9, Picard.
No, that's your choice. It's wrong, but it's your choice.
I was wondering what you were going to say. I just never found DS9 particularly exciting.
The
Just
first couple of
sitting in a
seasons.
building waiting for things to happen to them.
Yeah, that was
You
the
guys
first couple of
forgot
seasons.
Trucker. Trucker might have an order too.
Okay, Trucker.
Have an
what's your
order?
Yeah, do you have an order?
What, my order?
Star Trek, yeah.
TNG, TOS, Voyager, DS9, Enterprise, and
Picard last.
STD and Picard don't even show up on my damn list.
Okay. All right, I can understand that.
Cryptic says TNG period.
My big problem with Picard is the only episodes I ever saw. It's like half of the episode was, "Hey, remember this guy? Hey, remember this guy? Hey, remember this guy?"
That's
There were a
what
lot of
the
callbacks. Yeah.
that's what the entire show is, basically.
Well, they pepper it with it, but it's got its own universe, and it has.
Yeah, but
it's
the
20
writing's
years
all
ago.
over. The writing is all over the place.
It is. We just discussed this on the last stream that the first three or
one of
four episodes of the second season were really, really, really good, and then all the subsequent episodes after that have been terrible. So it's like they're written by two different teams.
One of the things I can't get over is Picard meets Seven of Nine and they act like old friends, yet they never met.
Yeah, but she's pretty well known. A Borg?
They
in the
never-
Federation?
I was going to say
Everyone knows who she is.
they never met, but remember, Picard at that point was plugged into was plugged in for a while as Locutus. So the bigger question is, was 7-9 actually plugged in at the same time as Picard?
Yeah, she would have been.
Yeah,
That's-
she would be.
So, and he still has the memories of when he was plugged in. So that's
That's
easily
another
explained away.
Yeah, that's the way around it, but
And then
No, I
when
don't wanna
Janeway, when Janeway went to bat to get 7 of 9 into the Federation after Voyager got home, that made all kinds of brouhaha and noise like that. I'm sure Picard would have heard about her from there. I mean, she's famous. She's the only Borg, single Borg to ever be considered for entry into the Federation. So yeah, everyone's going to know who she is.
But
So
Considering, I mean, one of the bigger things on that is, remember, when it boils down to it, 7 of 9, for the most part, was really a repeat of the Hugh experiment that worked.
Yeah.
Well, even Hugh worked.
But Hugh worked phenomenally well.
Yeah.
Well,
He
Hugh,
can't
was,
even-
Unfortunately, he ran into law.
he ran into
yeah.
Well, he ran into the Romulans. He was killed in
Was it on screen or was it in a novel?
no, it was on screen. It's canon. He was killed in Picard.
Oh, to me, it's not
It's part
canonical.
of the Borg reclamation process. They
'Cause,
found a cube and were reclaiming it.
Apparently, Picard takes place in the Discovery timeline, so therefore it's
No, it doesn't take place in the Discovery timeline at all. I mean,
That's one
even
of the
Discovery is not really in the Discovery timeline because they're now way in the future.
yeah. But from what I've read, and apparently this is from Alex most punchable face ever, Kurtzman. Picard takes place in the Discovery timeline.
I find that hard to believe because there's just too many callbacks to things that Discovery never had anything to do with. So how could that even be possible?
Well,
The fact
it's
that,
in the Discovery timeline, but it's
that Riker and Troy appear in the show. How could he be in the Discovery timeline? It doesn't make any sense at all.
Spock appears in Discovery. By your argument, he shouldn't because it's the Discovery timeline.
The Discovery timeline. I thought the Discovery timeline was
Obviously,
everything.
obviously, Discovery timeline is going to kind of parallel the main timeline, right? So it's going to have its own version of the Next Generation,
Right. Well,
and that's
I
where
guess it
Picard
could.
comes from, apparently. But
Nah,
God, I hated Troy.
Everything I hear about Picard is it's 20 years later in the original timeline. It's just 20 years in the future. It's not an alternate. It is part of the original timeline. I'd really like to see where he said that because everything about the show points absolutely against that.
Well, you've seen what Alex Kurtzman and his friends' writing skills are.
You got a point there.
But getting back to the Next Generation, I absolutely hated Troy.
Yeah, people are either hot and cold with her.
She was the most useless character on the British ship, and that was hard because it had bloody Wesley Crusher on board.
Well, Crusher became, a Mary Sue, but Troy eventually became a
Mary
bridge
Sue.
a bridge officer.
Yeah, only
She-
because she was allowed to cheat at the test.
How did she cheat?
She tried to take the test, and she constantly failed, and Riker basically gave her the answer.
You have to go back and watch that episode. He specifically said he could not give her the answer.
Yeah, but he basically did because he pointed her in the right direction almost by turning her head and nodding her towards. Yeah, you would have had to have been a complete imbecile not to have gotten his hint.
I'm going to have to go back and watch the episode again. I don't think it was
Really
that
speaking,
clear.
that was a stupid way to do the test. She failed it the first time. She should have had to wait at least a year before she could have taken it again.
That's what we would do in our timeline.
Well, because that's a sensible thing.
Yeah, but that's not what the Federation would do in the future.
Well, it's a bad idea because, if you keep taking a test and taking a test and taking it, every time you fail, sooner or later you're going to pass it.
Well, maybe not. You have to kind of look at how the future is sitting right at that point in time. Picard said it himself. He says, I think he says to Data, or he says to Riker, Starfleet needs competent captains. Reconsider your choice. It was to Riker about not taking a command.
Mhm.
Obviously, they need command officers. So there's going to be pressure to get people in as command officers. Even the same thing with Data being captain of the Sutherland. You have to. We're facing the Borg. I mean, I'm speaking as if I'm in that timeline. We're facing the Borg. We better get ships and captains up quick. So if you're going to make people wait for years and years and years just because they have a
but like you
problem with
said,
one
you
test.
want competent captain.
Yeah, but
And
that's
time
one out
after
of
even
how many
after-
things that they test,
I mean, let's face it, even after got the bridge officer, Troy was never really very good at being a bridge officer.
Well, she wasn't supposed to be. It's like It's like Beverly being a bridge officer. She wasn't
Beverly
really
could.
there.
I mean, Beverly had shown a few times that she could handle command.
Right, given
I mean,
opportunity.
I really liked Beverly Crusher. She was a brilliant character.
She's a favorite of mine too.
Kind of hot as well.
Troy did, yeah. I thought I was the only person who thought so, but apparently not. That's
No.
good.
There's
But
quite a
Troy
few
did
people who
take
do.
care of the ship when they ran into that singularity or something like that, the quantum singularity in the episode Disaster.
Oh, is that
The
the
car gets stuck in the elevator
with
with the little kids.
She kind of did, but only because she had Roller and O'Brien to help her a lot.
Actually, Roland was very much against her. She was
Yeah.
insisting that they separate the ship and take
Yeah.
off, and Troy used her command judgment and said, "No, we're going to stay and help these people."
Well,
So,
her command judgment and a lot of advice from Brian.
well, O'Brien thought it was cold to leave. He used an emotional argument. She used a logical argument.
Like he didn't completely use an emotional argument. It was an emotional based on an emotional point of view, but it was also based heavily on his knowledge of the ship.
Yeah, but what did he say? He says, "I find that damn cold."
Yeah,
He made the emotional argument. He didn't say, "I think we should stay because we can still establish a communication link." That would be the logical one. There's a difference.
yeah, but even O'Brien, given a time limit, if we haven't heard from the lower deck by X amount of time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
well-
necessarily buy that O'Brien was particularly on her side, because just about every interaction between the two of them, he was pensive and
He doesn't like officers.
annoyed. He was annoyed that she didn't know anything.
Yeah, and
He had to
also-
explain everything to it, and she says, "Oh, is that like hitting this?" And he says, "No, that's a completely different effect." And he wasn't really nice about the way he said it. So I don't really.
I don't really blame him because up until that point in time, she really talked to O'Brien, at least not as if he was like fellow sentient being. Kind of talked to him the same way people in 1940s films talk to the guy who's operating the elevator.
Yeah.
By the way, two
I-
of our people watching would like to make note that Andromeda was an okay show too.
It wasn't. It
Don't
wasn't.
remember.
Andromeda had some very good ideas, but there was one thing that really held it back. Kevin Sorbo can't save his life.
He's a little bit too obsessed with his Christian bullshit. I'm just saying it.
He's also a little bit too obsessed with his physique.
Like it's one of those things where like I respect you for having every single one of your beliefs, but if you're supposed to be playing a Captain Alien Lord and I'm getting a whiff of Christianity from you, I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, but you're an alien. Be an alien.
Yeah,
Don't want
Just
to be
like-
an alien, be a Christian Lord.
yeah, being alien, just like Kal-El.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like
wait.
it's the same complaint I have for the SJWs who are like, everybody has to be gay now. You can't just have a relationship between two people of the same gender. That's automatically gay.
Trucker just left the building.
Well, yeah, don't you know that the Frozen sisters are really, really gay?
Yeah,
Yes,
that
yes.
got to me. Yeah, that bothered me.
Yes, I don't care. They're Disney.
And did you know that the Sven thing and the Kristoff thing is like softcore bestiality porn
Yeah,
with antlers?
Next, you're telling us that Geppetto's a pedosexual. Call it.
Well,
you know, it's Disney. You never know. I mean, no, wait. You know, that was back when Disney was kind of normal. So you're probably more right. You know, you remember that stuff, Batman.
Okay, but
You remember when
see,
Disney was normal, Batman?
him saying the cricket is hilarious because the cricket is technically a softcore Jesus Christ. So the fact that you said that about a backwards Jiminy cricket is just hilarious.
The Britain's bent.
Yeah, you didn't know that the cricket represented Jesus Christ?
Didn't care.
True. You know what blows my mind about that? The fact that at the age that you watch Pinocchio, why would a cricket that's, your conscience that is also learning at the same time that you are, but also represents Jesus Christ, somehow makes sense to the story. Like the fact that everybody just instinctively knows that
The
it's
cricket
correct.
wasn't actually in the fairy tale very much, and it wasn't conscience in the fairy tale. Remember, that's almost entirely a Disney thing.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the Disney's Pinocchio, that there are so many suggestions about things that were just common knowledge that even at the age of 5 or 6 watching Pinocchio, god damn it, I can't speak. The fact that you can just be instantly relatable and understand at all ages is phenomenal for a Disney film.
It probably
Not-
says a lot about me, but when I was a kid, I wanted Pinocchio to end his life as a hard-working donkey.
It's not that. I actually think it makes perfect sense because back then, culturally speaking, North America and the Western world was different. Like I don't know about the UK in terms of how you guys were about church, because like I know that when I
Not that different.
yeah, so like in terms of like going to church, more people were absolutely going to church back during Pinocchio than are now, just in
Yeah.
general. Like even people who are Christian, majority of them don't actually go to church.
Right, there's an amusing thing for you when you're talking about the United States and England, specifically England and religion. England and the UK is officially a Christian country, right?
Mhm.
Yet our society is very much not sectarian, secular. Yeah. Agnostic atheist. America is supposed to be a secular country, right? Now, religion isn't supposed to be the driving force, but is very much a Christian. It's funny, isn't it?
Well, it
Opposite.
is.
It's kind of like our
incorporated
politics.
into the government. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Fair.
Or I don't know. There are apparently there are states where if you are an atheist, you cannot get into office.
But the difference is practicing. Like I
in the
would
States?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's legal or just if people find out that you're an atheist, you'll get into office.
It might no. I mean, as far as the government, you're not allowed to bring your religion into the government. So they would accept atheists, secularists, no problem.
You're not allowed to bring your religion to government, but you actually got to swear on the Bible when you take the oath of office.
You're roboting a bit, Betsy. At least on my end.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You can believe in God, that's fine, but you can't bring religion in. There's a difference.
And yet they do almost every speech.
Well, yeah, they'll say in God we trust or thank God, but that's not Catholic, that's not Islam, that's not
It's
Buddha.
religious.
It's
I mean,
it's
that's
divinity. It's divinity, but it's not religion.
Don't think it was until after the World War II that in God We Trust placed on American money,
Yeah.
or on the American Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah, well, yeah, but again, that's
But
divinity.
at the end
but
of the
not
day,
religion.
hold on. At the end of the day, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that because there isn't. It's just part of the culture of any given country.
I'd like to know what states are doing this, because if you've heard that a state is keeping atheists out, I'd like to know what that is.
I don't think it's officially on the books, but it's generally if you're an atheist, you're not going to get into.
Well, I'll tell you, if it's a democratic state, they'll be happy to take atheists.
Let's face it, if it's a democratic state,
It's
you're not
the
going
conservative.
to.
It's the Christian conservatives that would have the most difficulty. But
Let's face it, if it's a democratic state, you're not going to get into office if you're a white heterosexual male.
not anymore. Well, that's not true. Look at the governor of California,
And
right?
Cryptic, who usually speaks sense on these, telling me I'm wrong.
It's
So-
more of
I won't ever say that you're outright wrong. I mean,
So-
if you have more information, I don't know. Maybe I just don't know.
I'll make a more blanket statement. Let's put it this way.
Hold on, Jen. I'm going to battle Cryptic because usually he does have more. There, I've said it.
He might just be screwing with you.
No, I don't think he is.
It's okay to be wrong.
Yeah, it is.
But the thing that I was gonna say is like the only time where I would see atheism really going wrong in terms of like politics with the U.S. is if you were running for the country. Like if you were running for the country under I'm an atheist, I don't think it would work out as well. Like you could be an atheist and run, but I think if you ran with that as being part of who you were, it wouldn't work. I don't think it would.
I don't think I've ever really.
What's DA6?
Like I'm not saying you couldn't be one. Like I'm not saying like you couldn't just be like, hey, listen, you know, I just don't practice. You know, I could see people forgiving that. But if you went in as like, yeah, I'm just atheist, I don't think that you would be elected.
I don't think anybody really, looking at candidates over the last 20 or so years, both local and presidential, I don't think anyone has ever come out and said specifically that, hey, I'm Buddhist, or hey, I'm Catholic or Protestant or Baptist. Look at me. I don't think anyone has ever made that their identity, as the left likes to say. They will say that, yes, I am a practicing Protestant or Methodist or whatever, but they don't make it part of their run. So I think an atheist could get away with it.
I want to see the first Satanist president of the United States.
I don't.
Good
Fuck
luck.
that.
But you know
First-
what? Even
first
if you were a Satanist, at some point you would still have to be a Christian. I always
yeah.
call them out on it because for you to be a Satanist, you still would have had to have believed in Christ.
You're a backwards Christian.
Yes,
They hate it when you call them that.
I know, but I can't help it.
Dyslexic Christian, really.
Like
No, they're an actual backwards. They're a bizarro Christian because they believe in Satan and that. Well, they might be onto something because before the fall, God gave the earth Satan as his own to rule over.
Okay. Cryptic has a response. No states are allowed to discriminate someone.
That's not what I'm saying, though, Cryptic.
for or
I'm not.
against
Yeah.
Hold on.
religion. They might say they are or not, but it's the people that choose to elect them or not. The U.S. is still a majority Christian country.
Yeah,
That's a good
that's
point.
what I was on about, Cryptic.
That's
It's
kind
not,
of the point.
not on the books. It's the voters that I was on about.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be the legal process that makes it true. You know, sometimes it's just the people who kind of still make it true.
But Cryptic has proven what I said about it. Generally, he has more information than most.
Yeah.
There's some kind of statistic where 92% of the people on the planet believe in a higher power. I mean, a lot of people call him a god or her a god, however you want to, if you think a god would have gender.
Well, yeah, I'm an like me. I'm an Orthodox Batmanist.
Yeah. So I mean, if you say you're an atheist and you believe that there is no God, that would probably go against you.
No,
But,
that's an anti-theist.
yeah,
An atheist does not believe there is a God. There is a
Yeah,
huge
and-
difference.
yeah. But I mean,
One-
either one would probably be a detriment if you made it a
Yeah.
part of your campaign.
Because-
Oh my
I mean,
god.
I mean, if you believe there is no God, that's a statement of belief.
Mhm.
If you do not believe there is a God, that is a denial of belief, which makes you open to being proven wrong.
Non-binary god, lol.
I wonder how you have to put that together in your mind when you think about a possibility of a God. Would they be so advanced beyond us that gender wouldn't make any?
Well-
they're not human, so how could they really? They don't even have DNA. How could they be male or female when they're not even in that class? You know.
I had a talk with this the local priest when I was growing up. I mean, I'm not a Catholic. I wasn't raised. Local Catholic priest. He was a brilliant bloke. You talk to him about anything, and I was about 13. I was having a chat with him about this. His idea was God appears to those he chooses to reveal himself to in the form that is most comforting to them, or they're
Right.
the most comfortable to.
Right.
So to a black man, he's going to appear as a black man. To a black woman, God will appear as a black woman, and so forth. To one of the identity identity politics crowd, he's going to appear as a question mark.
A non-binary queer that just loves his Starbucks.
Yeah. It's,
South
it's,
Park made fun of
not
that
that-
so many times.
it's not that they're non-binary. It's that they're above the concept of binaries. The reason we have sex is so that we can procreate. I mean, of course, we use it for other fun things, but we need it to be able to replicate ourselves. God doesn't need to replicate himself, so he has no use
Well,
for sex.
actually, is that true? Because in every religious text, which is based off the Abrahamic religions, which are the most predominant ones, God created man, humankind, in his own image.
Mhm.
That means God has genitalia.
Physical
God-
image?
Yeah, God, yeah, that's what it said.
No, it doesn't say that. It says God created man in his image. It didn't say it created God a man that looks like him.
Well, what
There's
else
a
could it
difference.
mean?
It means with honor and with
You mean,
purpose.
you mean in the same psychological, mental image?
Yeah.
Possible.
So
It
if that,
doesn't say, so that's certainly an option.
yeah, but if that's true, that means that they're wrong when they say that man cannot understand the mind of God, because if we're created in his mental image, yes, we can.
No, that's not necessarily true. Just because it was created in the image doesn't mean you have the capacity to understand. Those are two different things as well.
Good point. But here's another one for you. God created man, right? And humans have free will, right?
There's been some debate of whether we have free will or not, but I'll
Well,
grant the
That's
argument.
called religion, right? God also created the angels, right?
Yeah,
Satan, the devil, being the most
a
powerful of
fallen
the
angel. Right.
But
Well,
The
Gabriel.
But hold
kinda
on,
close.
hold on. The angels were not given free will.
I don't believe they were. No.
So the only way the devil could rebel against God is if God told him to. And this actually fits very neatly with the Jewish religion, where God is the font of everything that is good and everything that is evil, which is a far more balanced religion than Christianity.
Having a religion and believing in something produce a better society, regardless if a God exists or not. Look at how shit our society have become since religion have been demonized by the left, except Islam.
I would agree with that cryptic. I mean, even though I am an atheist, if I could control the minds of humans across the planet, I would never get rid of religion. It gives too much strength and too much comfort to people. It enables people to do things which they otherwise probably could not do.
I could get behind that.
I just looked up something here that goes to what you were saying, Batman. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Do angels have free will? Can angels choose to sin? And the very first line says, although angels do have free will, that does not mean that they will choose to sin. Scripture calls Jesus holy, Acts 4:27, after all. And then it goes into the details of why angels actually do have free will, according to the Bible.
Well, they had to have free will. Otherwise, how did Satan have the free will to rebel?
I just said if angels do not have free will, God would have had to tell him to rebel.
Right.
And
But
like I said, that
I'm
works
not-
very well with Jewish religion because God, like I said, God is the font of all good, all evil.
Yeah.
Which-
I'm not versed in the Bible by any strength, or any
Neither
stretch of the word, but yeah, I had to look that up because it made a contradiction that I couldn't explain. So
Here's another thing. God, right, is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent, right?
correct.
He knows everything, he sees everything, and he is everywhere.
Mhm.
And none of those three qualities are restricted by time or even
Correct.
possibility. So God knows the out before the events have been even set into motion. God knows the outcome of an event, not just the outcome that's going to happen, but every possible outcome.
Right.
Right?
Mhm.
So that means God knew the outcome of what would happen if he created the world before he even did.
Maybe he liked the ending.
So if you put it in, if you apply human psychology to God, God's basically a bastard.
Yeah, I've heard this argument before.
Uh,
Why do
let-
3-year-old kids get cancer? Because God's
Hold on,
bad.
hold on,
I've heard
hold
that
on.
term before.
Hold on. I did qualify it. I said if you apply human psychology to God,
Right.
there is another idea.
Maybe there's God psychology, and in God psychology, it's actually not that big of an atrocious deal, and the ending is totally tastier
No.
than the beginning, kind of like cookie dough.
No.
Oh.
The eternal optimist here.
Maybe God's creating universes as a form of procreation.
BG.
Yes.
If I don't even know if Skittles is even watching this video, but I know that Cryptic is. If you wanted to make them twitch a little bit, you could totally share this meme with them. Because this lady was all like really mad at this guy because he had this thing on the top of his truck that looks like it's meant to hold his bike or something.
Oh, speaking of memes, I was giggling about a meme earlier. So it's two dogs, and I think they're pit bulls, and they're standing right beside each other. And it says, "Ever notice how dogs only come in male and female, and cutting the male's balls off doesn't make it a female?"
Nope. And sewing those balls onto a female dog doesn't make it a male.
I love that. I don't know why. I just thought that was the most hilarious thing. But that was like an hour ago before Hammer even showed up. And
Jen,
you also
I
sent me
don't-
an article that I wanted to talk about and forgot about.
Jen, I don't know what that is, but it is very clearly not any kind of rifle.
Right? I only share this stuff because I know people who get little twitchies over people who really shouldn't be talking about guns. I'm like, I know not to talk about guns because I don't fucking deal with guns. But then I see something like this and I start to giggle, so I share it with all my gun friends. And then I get curses for it. And it's fantastic.
Red Feather thinks she's being funny, but she's not. She's actually being
Gun?
clever. She says, and I quote, "The real question is, could a god roll a joint so huge that even he himself couldn't smoke it all?"
Oh my god, that's amazing.
God's not confined by a physical form.
Or is he?
No, you wouldn't contain God. You have to understand that we are amoebas trying to understand the mind of Socrates.
There's one idea I like. If God exists outside of the universe, he is all powerful. But when he has to enter the universe, he cannot be all powerful because the universe the universal laws do not allow for that. And to enter the universe, God would have to conform to the laws of the universe.
Oh my god, listening to you guys talk like this
why not?
reminds me of a play about
Because he was
Aristophanes. For some
One
odd
thing is,
reason.
Betsy, that position you just explained actually kind of explains Jesus.
Jeebus. Oh my god, I want to get Skittles a Jesus bogglehead for his car.
No, what you want to get is you want to get Skittles a Buddy Christ.
Oh,
Dogma.
yeah. Wow. Yes. Okay, I'm going to do that.
Preferably a life-size one, so you can hang his baseball cap on the finger.
I shouldn't have gotten high before this stream.
That's like that Weird Al song. What if God smoked cannabis?
Wait, that's not Weird Al, is it?
It was written by him. What if God smoked cannabis? Would he even get a buzz?
I know, right? Like, would he? It's like when I was listening to some conservative talk, because I listened to a whole lot of them, and he's like, I wonder if God could create something bigger than he was able to carry or hold or whatever. And I just thought,
Yes, he could, because he would create something that was that powerful and give himself the limit so he couldn't carry it until he wanted to carry it. So yes, he could. If he can do anything, he could.
Or does it go outside the capacity of what he can do, which is why it's too large for him to handle, and it just crushes him and he dies, and then the universe just poofs out of existence?
No,
You
he
keep
creates
applying
it.
physicality to God.
He
God's
creates
not a
it.
physical being.
Well, he
But
was
Actually-
JC, Jiminy Cricket.
Actually, you're not entirely correct. God can be a physical being if he wishes.
Didn't he do that with Jesus?
Christ is the Son
Yes.
of God.
No,
Yeah.
he was God's avatar.
Well,
No,
If
in the
God-
Bible,
if-
he's called the Son of God.
Yeah, doesn't take away from it though. If God is all powerful and his his being is that powerful, he creates Jesus, right? And he puts a portion of his self into Jesus. That means Jesus is his avatar. That avatar can act independently of the whole, of the rest of it,
well,
but it's still connected.
it's
when
not
the
still
Avatar
connected,
dies,
though. That's
That piece goes back to him.
That's disproven because this is interesting. I heard this philosophical guy say this thing once, that the mind is the crossroads pillar between, chaos and order, because in the thoughts of your mind you can create things, right? And then you bring it into being, which is a shadow of God. So we are made in his image. We can pull
Yeah.
order out of chaos. And then what's interesting about Jesus Christ is when he's up on the cross, it's like that's something holy that became human. And it's interesting because Jesus Christ has a moment, why have you forsaken me? As if to say that even something as holy and as godlike as Jesus was, even he saw all of the pain that he had also created, and even he could not handle it.
Yeah.
And I wonder,
Um,
how do we rectify that?
I need to say something. But Red Feather's wrong. Jesus is not part of the Trinity. Trinity is Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman.
But Jesus is not so much an avatar. The Bible says that Jesus rose on the third day and sits at the right hand of God.
So
He
that
wasn't.
doesn't mean
He wasn't reincorporated. He wasn't a section or an avatar of.
that's what the
God.
Christians say.
Well,
But
yeah,
it
that's-
doesn't mean they're right. I mean, if
All right.
if God wants to, he can trot Jesus out anytime he wants.
just invalidate an entire religion based on your theory. Go ahead and do that.
No, it hasn't actually. It's changed it slightly. But the one thing, my bone of contention with the whole Jesus thing is they call Jesus getting crucified on the cross a sacrifice. A sacrifice is when you give something really precious away and you're never getting it back. Jesus, because he had the same kind of foresight as God, knew that he was going to get better. It wasn't a sacrifice. It was 3 days off.
Well, he was never going to be a human being walking on feet anymore. He's going to be dead.
Yeah, for 3 days.
His body was going to be dead forever.
No, for 3 days, because he came back, remember?
Yeah, well, do you see him around anywhere?
Apparently he's seen all the time. He's seen more times than bloody Elvis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
walking
somebody
around,
saw him
or-
on a pancake once.
Yeah,
Actually,
that's
if I could go back in time, I would change it slightly. I would ensure that Jesus' parents became rich, very rich, right? Joseph was no longer a carpenter, doc, right? And one night, Joseph and Mary and 8-year-old Jesus have been to see the gladiators at the local arena, and on the way back they get attacked by a robber who kills Joseph and Mary and sets Jesus on his.
Batsy, that's a crazy story, but
That-
Jen sent me this
That's
thing.
that's Christ.
Jen sent me this thing, and I should probably talk
Sorry, I'm being
about
silly now.
the thing, because we got like 25 minutes left before it's like the 2-hour ding. We hit the algorithm, even though we'll never actually hit the algorithm. She sent me this thing about a gorilla. And I got.
I thought it was funny. They killed Harambe's sister with vaccines.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, was that Harambe's sister too? Is that why
F
they're
in the
calling
chat.
it
I don't know
vaccinated
that part. I just
Harambe?
thought she looked an awful lot like
Can-
Harambe. So I was like,
Can we have an F in the chat for Hambi's sister, please?
right?
Yeah, F. So, fully vaccinated gorilla dies with multiple organ abnormalities. And I mean, they're close enough in DNA to us that maybe we should take note.
Yeah,
So,
very, very true. Yes.
Martha, a fully vaccinated, critically endangered western lowland gorilla at
I thought they were
Gladys
extinct.
Porter Zoo, apparently not, has had her life abruptly cut short. Oh dear. According to a Facebook post, because reliable, ding, from the zoo, Martha was being treated for a urinary tract infection. Oh, you get those too? That's
Hold on. Can I ask a question?
yeah.
Why did you use that name?
That's a great. Maybe she looks like one. I mean, I'll never know because I'm blind. But hey, maybe she does. But
Bet these gorillas Martha too.
but didn't appear to have any underlying symptoms. Keepers say they were shocked and heartbroken. I would have been like freaking horrified to find she had passed away during the night. Wonderful euphemism. However, after her death, a necropsy, oh, that's what that's called, revealed severe problems in Martha. Upon the autopsy for animals work, we found that she had multiple organ abnormalities, which in turn created a life-ending cascade, aka dominoes, said Dr. Tom Foreign, the zoo's senior veterinarian. The cascade began with fibrosing heart disease, which led to renal failure. Oh, I feel you. I feel you, man.
Yeah.
Well, they couldn't get to your children, Red, so of course they went after the gorillas.
Hammer, here's one. It's a personal opinion. I think that people who are really strong in their faith laugh at religious joke, where those who have doubts and have a shaky faith get pissed off. On average.
Maybe.
Martha's
Possibly.
got really big titties.
I'm not interested in gorilla tits. Mind, I am interested in sugar tits.
Oh, so Walter Foreign, the curator of mammals at Gladys Porter Zoo, said Martha loved to interact with the public. Oh, that's nice. So she showed off her titties. You show Miss Hussy. I remember she'd put her ear to the glass. Oh, like listening? To show off her and her sister's babies to visitors. Okay, so that's where women get it, clearly. And in July 2021, the zoo announced that it intended to vaccinate its animals for COVID, citing concerns over the difficulty of treating certain animals for respiratory viruses. I suppose, like, an elephant probably can't wear a COVID mask, eh? Wouldn't be really efficient. We know that tigers can get COVID. Lions can get it. Gorillas and other species. Okay, but here's the thing.
That makes sense because cats, house cats catch just about every disease that human can catch.
That's correct. They also have like more neurons than dogs. But what I find funny is they tell us these animals can catch it, but I want to know how many of these animals actually die from it. That's what I want to know.
Good point.
One
And
of
here's
our-
another thing about cats. Cats have also got more neurons than Californians.
You're not wrong.
A bullfrog has more neurons than a Californian.
Hell, a rock does.
One of our definite vulnerabilities is the giraffe. Oh, I would have picked the elephant. feeding deck because I have unknown humans of unknown vaccine status interacting very close with my giraffes, which is funny because even if they have the frickin' vaccine, they're still spreading it. So what does their vaccine status even frickin' matter, you loser? The challenge would be, these people are supposed to be like university educated. I feel like they'd be smarter than me.
The vaccine increases your resistance to it, and eventually somewhere down the line that will create an immunity to the strain that you've previously been vaccinated against. So, yeah, you might still catching it, but you're not going to be infected by it.
Yeah, but I mean, you still spread the damn thing, so...
What would
it matter, the vaccine status of the humans feeding the damn giraffes, because they still freaking spread it, and the giraffe is still gonna sneeze? Just saying.
And who wants to be underneath a giraffe that's got a runny nose?
Oh, God, that would be like... Although, I still say the elephant.
Falling off my head.
Oh, my God.
I would not be like to be standing in front of an elephant sneeze.
The challenge would be administering treatment, for a severe respiratory disease. Well, I mean, you guys got freaking ivermectin, and it seems to work on the damn horses.
What I want to know now is, how the hell are they going to get a COVID man from an elephant?
I guess, I don't know. They could, you know what? We have technology, okay? But anyways, the zoo was also once home to the beloved silverback gorilla Harambe. So it's the same zoo where Harambe died, who was later shot in Cincinnati zookeepers 2 years.
So it's basically a death camp for gorillas.
Our furry ancestors are not getting the treatment they clearly deserve.
They're not our ancestors, they're our cousins.
Whatever. Family is family, dude. I can't believe their daughter is 5 already. Wait, what? Sugar Tits is... Oh, you're talking... Okay. I was like, wait, that Harambe and his sister had a...
Yeah.
Had a
Yeah,
kid?
she said Sugar Tits is a bear, and I just had to comment that, I like the idea of Sugar Tits being bear.
The medical community in England is HTS, or what's the name of it? It's a 3-digit because it has an H in it. Not HMS.
National Health Service?
And NHS. There it is. Did a study of ivermectin, and they proved that it has no bearing on COVID at all.
Yeah. I believe it's hold on, let me check. I had the 2 shots, and I'm refusing to take the booster.
I heard about it on the Dr. Campbell's YouTube channel.
Yeah, we got the AstraZeneca over here.
Yeah.
Which
Ivermectin does nothing.
the worst after effect I've ever heard of is actually the one I suffered from. After the second jab, for about a month you're sleeping a hell of a lot more than you usually do, and then afterwards you're fine.
Yeah. So yeah, ivermectin's been proven not to have any impact. I know a lot of people take it and that kind of thing, but if you didn't take it, nothing would change. Ivermectin's not a thing. So what gets me is the arrogance of the zookeepers and general people who are still pushing for mask mandates. Maybe at one time with the original strain or beta or delta masks had an impact, but with Omicron masks are...
Even then, you're
going to get it. You're going to get it. No
even then, the masks, as it actually says on the packaging of every single brand of mask I've seen, they do not provide any protection to yourself or those around from viruses.
Put it to you this way. I keep trying to tell this dare to these I really love the mask people, and I'm like, you know what? If masks work so great, then why aren't you letting your kids eat peanut butter before they go to school?
Yeah.
I mean, if they knew all they had to do was wear a mask and they could have all the peanut butter they wanted, shouldn't be an issue, right?
Yeah, Hammer. My cousin's 20-year-old daughter, she lives in Lincolnshire, right? Mm-hmm. She went to the beach in 2020 and you had to wear a mask. So she wore 3 of them as a bikini.
That's funny.
Yes.
Yeah,
She
that's
actually
funny. I can
got
see
into-
tons of girls actually doing that. Yeah.
She actually got into the local papers for it.
Yeah.
But-
If you masks can only handle, even N95 masks only handle 0.1 microns, and
But
the virus is smaller than that. So.
my part of the UK, the mask mandates were basically a joke because, I mean, I was only wearing a mask if I had to go to a certain shop where they wouldn't let you in. And that was few and far between. And I was
same thing for me. Only time I ever wore a mask is when I was going into the hospital.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
I mean, I was coming home from doing some shopping. There's cops, policemen. Well, where's your mask, guys? It's in my pocket. Where's yours, guns? I couldn't be put to wear it, so I left it at the station. He just wandered off. So the police weren't enforcing it up here. So they were down in the southeast.
You have to be very careful about talking about this because you get the stream knocked down for medical misinformation. But there's certain things you can say that don't point to effectiveness one way or the other. You can simply say that the masks themselves say they can handle anything down to about 1 micron, and you can say that the virus is less than 1 micron. Both of those things are true. But you can't say that whether a mask stops it or not. That'll get you in trouble.
Yeah.
But here comes back to my point. What would you think the size particle of peanut butter is? And you know what I'm saying when I say that a mask wouldn't stop peanut butter from spreading through a school if there was a kid in that school who was deathly ill of peanut butter. That kid would still probably die.
Could you not remember back in the 60s, the 70s, and even to a degree the 80s, when it wasn't uncommon for fleas in schools? No matter the precautions taken, fleas still spread.
Sure.
Lice, yeah.
Omicron's more
lice and fleas, two different things.
Omicron BA1 and BA2 and BA2 12.1 are all supposedly, I have to use that word, more contagious than the measles. So how are you going to avoid it? No matter where you go, what you do, you're going to run into somebody who has it, and they're going to. I mean, your mask. What kind of protection is a cloth mask going to give you? And what was that lady named? Louisa Wen got on CNN and said that cloth masks are nothing but facial decorations.
Kind of are, though.
Well, that's what she said. I'm not saying that because if I said that, that would get the stream taken down. But she said it.
Okay.
I don't think.
You know what's funny about that? You know what's really funny about that is at one point I didn't have a mask and I hadn't went and got one yet. So I made a sock mask and people thought that was acceptable. Just a sock on my face. And I'm like, this was thought out. This sock is apparently stopping COVID. Shit! Stop the presses. We don't need China. Everybody, socks. That is why all of my left socks are missing from my frickin' dryers because people caught on.
What was the celebrity who had a knitted mask?
Oh, that was Alyssa Milano. I was actually going to mention her. But she's insane. It's an interesting thing about viruses. It was one of the natural history videos I watched. But apparently, if viruses hadn't developed on Earth, evolution wouldn't have been nearly as rapid and efficient as it is now because a hell of a lot of our active DNA comes from viruses.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it would have wiped out all the dumb kids without a morality crisis, you know.
Well, not if there were no viruses.
Like, oh shit, there goes another dumb kid and he didn't even have to do it himself. Like, Darwin, it's been done. Your replacement is viruses.
The weirdest thing about viruses is most scientists think they're not actually alive. They don't reproduce, they replicate. And there is a difference. Don't ask me what it is because I'm not.
One of them has great feeling orgasms and the other one is just dull, boring, and you don't want to be it.
I mean, a bacteria can replicate asexually or sexually, right? It can either split into two or it can do the dirty with another bacteria. Virus needs to get into a another life form and use that life form's DNA building material to make more of itself.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
It's just
Either
like
or never
vicious
seems to get
chemical
obese no
process.
matter how many good cells it eats.
Yep.
Like, what
Yeah.
the hell?
that's what it is. A virus is basically a very vicious chemical process.
And it doesn't get fat.
How do you know?
Oh, holy crap, donation.
Lucky Charms donation. I wish a virus would evolve Mew gag reflex. I mean, I tried to deep throat this cucumber the
Oh,
other
God,
day and
no!
nearly died.
Ah,
Chop chop evolution.
God! Don't ruin cucumbers for me! Shit, Big Dro, you need therapy, dude. Just find a therapist, and if they stick with you, keep them. They're gold.
Or death.
Oh, Jesus, or that. Yeah, just, find you a bridge and take a jump. Just make sure you do it right the first time, because no one wants to be a suicide chump.
So,
Do,
Hammer.
do. Oh, yeah.
What do you reckon to the Superman and Lois show?
Superman and Lois? Oh,
Yeah, Lois.
Lois Lane Lois?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a real big DC fan.
It's actually quite good. I mean, it's on the CW, but it's not like a CW show because it's good.
I thought didn't they just cancel Batwoman or?
Well,
Yes.
yeah, but
Unlike-
that's Batman.
Yeah, unlike Batwoman and
Legends
Legends of Tomorrow.
You nearly said it, Chuck. You nearly said it.
I know it. As opposed to those two, Superman and Lois is actually going pretty good.
Yeah, the first season was good. The second season is twice as
Well, that's...
and usually you find
Yay.
that's the reverse. Usually the first season's good, the second season's lame.
And the reason why you have to do the Clark and Lois, or Superman and Lois thing is because Lois and Clark in 1993 already existed.
Yeah. I would actually, it's very rare of a modern show, but it's one I would actually recommend you watch.
Of course you would.
I agree.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Of the jury.
Yes, it is that time where we must say Saya Frickinara because we've been here for 2 hours and what the hell are you doing with your life if you're watching this? You know?
And pretty much we're all distracted by other things. Like I
Yeah.
keep giggling at these memes that I keep finding that are just absolutely priceless.
Actually, Jen's saying that she's finding memes. It isn't. She's high, and every time she looks at her hand, she just bursts out laughing.
Sure.
That made me giggle, so you know what I am. Ha ha. So, the hammer. The almighty hammer. The big hammer in the house. What do you
Okay.
guys think?
All right, easy.
You gotta go
Just
check
a guy.
this man out, okay? You gotta go check out the minions because they do all kinds of crazy shit all
Well,
the time.
Well, blind girl, I have to admit, just talking to the guy, I'm impressed.
Exactly. See, you want this kind of impressive brilliance. The
So I
minions
fooled
of
you
this-
too.
Yeah.
Oh, and Hammer.
That's right.
You know that time could be a couple of weeks ago now. You were walking past this alleyway and nothing happened. You never got mugged.
Mm.
You're welcome.
That silhouette up in the sky on the edge of the roof.
Yep.
That was you.
Yep.
You need help. You need help with a lot of things, Big Dro. I would love to thank Big Dro for the moolah because Jack likes swimming and pizza. But, dude, I ain't your therapist, okay?
All right. I got one last little meme though for you
Oh,
guys.
okay,
It's
one
it's one of those
last,
common ones that you usually find on like a Facebook book post. But so you're going to construct your new rock star name, and it's something lame like, okay, so your name plus the color of your underwear and whatever you ate last, and that's your rock star name.
So my name, the colour, so the middle of that would be flesh coloured. And what was the last bit?
Whatever
Last
you
thing
eat
you
last.
Whatever I ate last. So, my first name, flesh-coloured corned beef sandwich. Fair enough. Which is better than Cryptics, because Cryptics would be, I don't know, cryptic brown cat.
Oh, it's still better than, I mean, although not as titillating as Blind Girls. You know, Commando Burrito.
You're not even wrong.
That's what I was like, okay, well, there's that one.
Well, it's worse for Blind Girl. It would be Blind Girl Pink Burrito.
Oh, Betsy, you're a little old, sir.
Yeah, I had honeycomb, so I'm in the same boat as you. It's basically Commando Honeycomb. I'm like, I feel like I should be kept away from children with that name.
You know, Cryptic, racist. You can't be racist to an Asian, yo.
Nope.
You slanty potatoes.
I think you guys have had 5,000 years. Oh wait, you're not that guy because you're not Chinese. But 5,000 years of writing the book on racism. So
He does have every culture from. I mean, Cryptic himself agrees to this. Every culture from the Far East, they're incredibly xenophobic and racist.
Oh yeah.
The Koreans are actually the worst. And when you consider that the Chinese think that anybody who isn't Chinese is barely human, that's frightening when you think about the Koreans.
Oh. Yeah, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, sayonara, check out the minions at the zoo. Hammer, any last fountain of youth wisdom?
No, usually when I'm asked to sign off with something, I go back to Buckaroo Banzai. Jen's probably heard me say this before, but the quote is, "No matter where you go, there you are."
There you are.
I have
that
yet to
is
see
way
that
too
film.
deep for me.
Hammer.
I am way too high for that.
Hammer,
Yes.
marry me. You brought up Buckaroo Banzai. Marry me.
There's that word. There's that word again. Is there something wrong with the gravitational pull of the Earth in the future?
All right, bye everybody. Ooh,
Hi,
check
guys.
out
Why
our
is there a
cool
watermelon in
intro.
a press?
That's for Daniel, comrades.
That is now our outro.